So Lee, what do you think about ticks?
Oh God, I hate ticks, man. I was in college. I was on a hike, and like a tick bit me, but I didn't know. It crawled up the back of my leg and like was on the back of my knee and feeding on me for like hours. I didn't find it till later that night. So there was no ring, so they put me on these antibiotics like just in case, and then like I had an allergic reaction to the antibiotics. It took weeks to figure out what was wrong with me. And then I had to spend like 6 months like worried, like maybe they didn't work because I was allergic. Maybe I have Lyme disease now. Like I hate ticks. I never leave the house as a result.
Yeah, I meant like the movie.
Movie?
All right, guys, here we're going to talk about the movie TICKS. 1993's TICKS. Lee, had you seen it before?
No, but I'd heard about it, and I didn't believe what I heard until I saw it.
This is one that I did not see originally. I caught this one when it came out on Amazon Prime, and I was like, oh man, I need to see if people are like talking about this. And I hopped on, and this is actually the movie that introduced me and you, coincidentally through channels here, to our friends over at Bad Movie Night. This is how I started talking to them.
Cool. So we owe this movie a lot.
A little bit.
Good times.
So yeah, after you've watched our video, go check out theirs on their channel. They have also a video on this. But here we are to talk about it. So Lee, give me some like non-spoilery. What do you think about this?
This is a masterpiece.
I agree. I really enjoy this movie. It is everything a bad like good movie is.
Absolutely.
It has some star power behind this. You've got Carlton from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Alfonso himself. You've got Seth Green in the lead role here. You've got our boy from Bosom Buddies, or as I like him, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, a TV show.
But no, yeah, it's got a bunch of people when they were like little babies or much younger, much different looking. It's 93. It's a long time ago. Like you, I didn't know about it then, but I'd heard about it more recently, right? No, this is exactly like you say. Certain movies that are bad, right? You're making a lot of compromises. You have to kind of be like, no, trust me, it's so bad. Wait till it gets worse. And it's just boring. This movie is not boring. No. And it has some good practical, weird looking effects.
Our boy Clint Howard.
Yes.
And yes, some really fun practical effects. This is great because it slides in before we had a lot of bullshit CGI stuff. Yeah. You have some fun, like, I don't know how they did this, with some stop motion or claymation or whatever they have going on there. Some real fun stuff. Yeah. Great visual spectaculars here at certain points. But
also batshit crazy. Where scenes come into the movie and I'm like, this scene is out of order. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Why are these characters dressed like this? Why are they here? Why are they saying that? They already said that. Like, what's happening? Like, because it is also a bad movie.
Oh, yes.
Which is so important to have both, right?
Is atrocious on this.
The dialogue is horrible. Right? Yeah. Like, it's bad. But fun, and often like people have different standards for that, and mine I think are like high, because a lot of times I'm like, yes, it's bad, but it's still just bad, right? But this is bad and good. This is this is up to my standards of like a fun bad movie.
This movie, it seems like they started out to be very serious, and then in the middle of it, I saw an interview with Seth Green's like, and then it just became, well, we're making a movie,
yay!
and it kind of shows that like nobody really gives a shit in this movie.
Okay, cool. So at a certain point, they were just like, listen, this is not happening the way that we thought it was. Just pull
we only got you for 5 weeks, kids. We got to finish this fucking movie.
We got to make something happen here. So ham it up, act more, act harder. And they were like, on it, done.
Midway through, I was just like, ooh, let's be silly. So, but everybody did. We all had dialogue like, ticks do not get that big.
All right, guys, so we're going to hop over to spoilers. So if you've seen this or don't care, follow us over there. And if not, pull out now. I do recommend watching this one. So if you haven't seen it, maybe you do want to go watch it now. As I said, it is on Amazon Prime at the moment.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
All right, so here we are for the spoilers of TICKS. So this movie starts off just right into batshit, where I'm like, okay, so it's an inner city like vacation woods trip that they drop you off under an underpass in like the middle of like, I don't know, like a warehouse district.
Yeah, this is about child sex trafficking.
More or less.
More so than what it's like supposed to be about. Yes.
So like right off the jump, you meet your Seth Green character who's just dropped off, and he encounters the thugged out Carlton.
Yes.
And Carlton's name is Panic, 'cause I never do.
Panic.
See, they call me Panic 'cause I never do. How about you?
because I never do.
That's the best thing, and it's like,
I think that's what I heard other people saying, and I was like, this is something. Something's going on here. And just the fact that it's Carlton, and you pointed out, like, this is not even, like, pre-Carlton or post-Carlton.
No, this is in the middle of Fresh Prince.
We are mid-Carlton here,
Yeah.
right? So he's playing so against type that it makes it so
well,
funny.
it's almost
like meta.
playing. There's a character like he plays in the Fresh Prince.
The Stefan Urkel
No,
of
well,
Carlton.
no, he goes back with Will. Like shows him his old hood.
Yeah.
And like
We'll just call the park ranger.
He falls in. It's that episode.
Yeah.
He falls in with like that group, and he's like, oh, it'll be a sales bonanza.
It's a sales bonanza. Sorry, there's no hip-hop word for sales bonanza.
And like he's like selling purses or something in the park. And in this episode, in this movie, he says bonanza, and I'm like, he's like that character.
This movie was just research for that episode.
He says like this bonanza bullshit.
But come out of here, man. I've had enough of this bonanza bullshit.
It's like a sales bonanza. It's all that happened in my head. Like, it's come full circle. He has a hat on and glasses. Oh my god.
No, it's crazy. Because it really adds to that whole thing. Because at a certain point, I like half expected that to be like a front and for him to just be Carlton or something at some point during the movie. But no, that's his character.
That's him, yeah.
Which is amazing.
He has a dog that seems like a dog that would be out like in the country.
Or maybe I just have my dog rip your leg off.
Yeah, it's like an emaciated, weird, like barn dog or something.
Yeah, which gets killed by ticks.
Hey, spoiler alerts.
Certainly not a snake bite. Seems to be a foreign mass under the sternum.
We're in spoilers. We're allowed to say that. I like that. That's their segue into saying how the ticks have like, oh, they have he didn't know me, man. He didn't know who I was.
It's a Brutus. But he didn't know who I was.
Oh, they give you a psychotic tripping effect as the anesthesia and whatever.
They numb you, but also that might make you trip because these are big or something. I'm like, yes, cool.
When a tick bites, it numbs you, so you don't feel it. And in some cases, it can produce a hallucinatory state. Your dog may have been hallucinating, like he was on an LSD trip or something.
It's such a ridiculous concept of the movie. There are egg sacs everywhere.
I love
they
the
are
egg sacs.
literally everywhere.
I love the pulsating, goopy egg sacs.
There's one shot from inside it where it's like just a human hand.
And it's doing the whole thing. No, I loved literally all of that. When Seth Green just like pokes a coat hanger into it, like does a weird back alley abortion of the tick egg sac. But just the way it's falling out, it's so like goopy.
No one's weirded out by it. Like, oh, I'm not putting my clothes in there.
Oh man, this closet sucks.
But just picture there's hundreds of egg sacs throughout the movie. Like you know, like in the barn there's a million, in the woods they're like everywhere. Oh, they're covering this and that. To get to that many egg sacs, there would have already had to be ticks that could lay egg sacs that size. So there should have been some attack, something. There should have been like, hey, there's no deer in the woods anymore. What's going on?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
something should have happened. It seemed like at one moment, just all the ticks came out. And granted, there's a decent explanation of the fire because it drives them all one direction, and that's why you have them all attacking the barn at the end. And I'm like, okay, that works for not just being like a bullshit movie thing. And they try to explain things along the way, which I appreciate. Yeah, which a lesser movie wouldn't.
There's stuff dripping, and it seems like that makes the one egg get bigger and stuff. But yeah, there's no explanation for like hundreds of eggs now, right?
No, yeah.
Unless there is a big one, which there is, but there isn't a big one yet.
Well, and the only reason we have a big one, so Carlton bursts open to be a gigantic tick. Yes. And that, as I took it, is because he injected steroids to not die from his wounds.
Oh no, and he's out there with like the fire raging, so like the fumes of like the pot that's infused with everything.
You think that was what it was?
Yeah, like no, like all of it together. Like 10 things happen to him at once that causes him to like the chemicals react.
It's such a beautiful effect.
This is reminiscent of the Nightmare on Elm Street when she becomes the cockroach and all that stuff. I was oh, this is awesome. Where it's like
there's a movie Spiders
breaking through her,
that's a similar thing where a spider bursts out of a guy and it's just a giant spider.
Yes, I dig it.
And I think this is done really well. Like it's one of the better effects that you see from like the 90s. Yeah. And I'm like, that's great. It's in a movie called TICKS. All right, and then there's of course assorted garbage that kind of looks like the Bite Me movie, where it's just like, you know, like the tick with a syringe, just like, scurrying across the side.
So that scene's okay in certain points, but that's more on the goofy side, right? This is the doctor when they, like she's a vet, I guess.
She's a
They
veterinarian,
take the dog to her, right? The dog's death was good. It's all rumbly.
Brutus.
In the surgery, and it gets, but then it's like she's playing tug of war with the tick with the syringe in the dog, or
pulling the blood in and back out into the syringe.
So she's like, what's happening?
I kind of love that, but I also think it's so goofy.
And at first I thought, oh, the syringe is like how they're controlling the tick, and it's like this fake thing. But then the syringe falls out, and it's like still doing it. Like, so they didn't even need that. It was just a weird because like the top of the syringe is like cut off. So I'm like, oh, there's like a pneumatic tube going in. It's like moving the legs or something. But
When in doubt, squish.
it was very funny. I was like, okay, cool.
I had thoughts and like speculations on like when the dog was first like rumbling and stuff, and I was like, did they make a whole prop dog, or is there just a slight ditch under there and it's a guy just wiggling the dog? Because I'm like, if you trained a dog not to move, I'm sure a person could just wiggle it and maybe do those things.
Just truffle shuffling this poor dog.
Kind of.
Yeah, it could be.
Stage dog.
And then there's panic. A perfect model of aggressive dysfunction. He cannot accept this radical change, so instead assaults it.
You have this great cast of just weird characters, though. So you got Clint Howard, who's always a weird guy, because he's like a weird guy. That's just like what Clint Howard is.
Help me! Please! I can't see him! Help me! Here, take the gun!
But he's like making tea, and he's like, oh, top notch.
Top notch.
And it's like like this nice looking tea set in this like weird warehouse barn thing with a hamster wheel that's like powering the whole thing or
there's
something.
There's like a what is it called? Not MC Escher, Rube Goldberg, like a machine where it all kicks into play.
Yeah.
That's part of our intro to that part of the movie is where and it keeps like going through all this stuff. Clint Howard, I probably underrated him, but this performance I thought was like really, really good. His whole character and the environment that he's in is so dressed and built up and stuff that you really feel the whole thing.
He shoots himself in the leg to try to stop the tick.
Jesus Christ! God!
And I was like, this is great. Yeah. And then he dives on one of our like main girls. Is like, I'm infected.
I'm infested!
Which was another name this movie was released under briefly.
Okay.
Until they were like, nah, it doesn't work. Bring it back to TICKS.
When he's like, shoot me, shoot me,
shoot me, shoot me.
And like laying on her, screaming and like dripping his weird ooze on her and all that stuff.
And now he brought that from home.
Like, this is amazing. Yeah, no, there's nothing.
He's just always
there's
dripping.
no effect. Yeah, no, it was great. Like he really I think sometimes he's just like a weird Danny Trejo. Like, look who we have in our movie, and we have him for 5 minutes. But he was he's doing a lot and he's putting a lot into it. He's writhing around on the floor, screaming, doing all these things. Like I was like, this is an awesome.
I often like him in movies.
Yes, he's really good.
And his two cohorts, which I think are his teammates. You have like Sir and guy with short whip, where I'm like, how do these people even know each other? There's always these groups in movies like are the bad guys, where like it's like, how would these associate in real life? This just weird rapist guy with a whip.
Don't do it, man. We'll never get out of here.
Snap, Romeo.
And this British guy, call me Sir.
Charles Danson.
Oh, you can call me Sir. This is my associate, Jerry.
No, it's like cartoony and strange.
Very
and
much
weird.
so. Like a Rocky and Bullwinkle vibe.
Yes, but that works because
it works for this movie.
Yeah, they're like obviously bad, and then there's like this big reveal, like we are the people that we warned you about. Haha.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're trying to rape that girl earlier, right? Like what's going on?
No one questioned this for a second. We all knew.
Right.
The guy that played the sheriff, I've seen him in a million things before too. He's like a famous bit part character-y actor type of guy.
Yeah. Never came home last night. About yay tall, shaggy brown hair, going bald.
Haven't seen him.
Well, he'd probably turn up. Sorry to bother you.
I liked him. I didn't think it looked like him when he was in the water. I was like, I think they got someone different to play that part. But it was him all made up at the end. So I'm like, maybe it was him. Who knows?
What if we run into one of those couch croppers?
kick his redneck ass.
I'll kick his redneck ass.
I figured this would be the kind of thing where you knew everybody, and I would only know like 3 of them.
The blonde girl, the pretty one that dates the guys. You think I'm Mexican?
Do I look Mexican to you?
Yeah.
She used to date Dean Cain.
Okay, she has a famous name, it seems.
Yeah, she's in things, but nothing that jumps out at me. What are you doing?
I had the same reaction looking at the IMDb's and stuff, where I thought like, oh, I know all these people. This is amazing. And it's like, I know 3 of these people, maybe. It's like, okay, cool.
Oh, God, you didn't believe that stupid shit, did you? God, you're so naive. I'd rather be naive than a spoiled bitch like you.
I don't get why the rich girl's even on the trip, because it seems like it's an inner city trip for kids like that can't get out and do things, but she's like on the trip like it's no big thing. And I get that she's like trying to piss off her dad or whatever. Like,
there's many tropes here, right?
Of course.
And like one is the wilderness retreat.
Yeah.
And one is also like the scariest thing in the 90s was you might be out in the woods and stumble upon somebody's pot farm, right?
Yes.
And this is like the weird.
What kind of pot?
211.
Marijuana.
What kind of dope? And
Yeah,
he's
what kind
like,
of dope?
And he's like, and the guy laughs like, oh, you bumpkin.
What kind of dope?
Marijuana.
Right, all that stuff. But this is the other trope, is like every group of kids that does anything has to be the Breakfast Club, has to have like every possible person in there who's like, I'm working on my tan, I'm cutting myself, I'm doing this. Like, oh my God, like everyone has the stereotypes going on, right?
That girl with the tan, I thought was like, oh, do you guys want to go fishing? No. Like, oh, you can just hang out over there.
You can
no,
sunbathe over there.
We gotta stay in the shade or something. Like, it's her excuse as she's sunbathing.
No, I feel like that's meant to be a joke of some sort.
It struck me as just like, because like she didn't lay it on with a different like tone or anything.
It was very bad.
Yeah, it was.
Dee Dee, what about you? Oh, I gotta stay in the shade. You know that ozone thing. Right.
And this whole part of the movie, this is what I was hinting at, where it's like, okay, so like they're sunbathing there, and there's no indication of like a time skip. It's literally just been like, oh, they like walked there. There's no cutaway of like, let's go after all. It's just now them walking and talking, but not talking about going to the fishing hole with them.
Oh, I hate this. Why can't we go back to the cabin? Holly will never know.
She'll know, and I don't want her to think I'm asleep.
Gee, thanks.
Not like that.
Just walking, now wearing clothes and not sunbathing, just through the woods, so they can have their scary encounter scenes,
Sure.
right?
Well, they're
It's
looking for a
very
place
much
to
like
do
whatever.
it, and they don't find that.
Sure, but there's no like connective tissue of like what happened since they were sunbathing. It feels like it's much later in the day, but it's literally like 10 minutes later. It's like editing choices are just like just whatever, just like throw it out there.
Yeah, kind of like the agoraphobia, like not really playing a major factor at all.
I was like confused. I'm like, wait, so like at the end he's like trying to be the hero, so he says like I just need to get out of here for a few minutes. My stuff's acting up or something. But yeah, it just seemed like
he just becomes a boss.
Stay here with Dee Dee, I'll go. What are you, nuts? No, man, look, my panic disorder's acting up. I gotta get out of this room, okay?
Are you gonna be okay, Tyler?
Yeah, we'll all be okay. Just let me get out of here.
Yeah.
Like he like jumps down, he goes back up to save the muscular guy, he gets thrown a broom, he like sets a blaze to our biggest insect there. Or I think it's an arachnid technically.
Yes.
And then like they jump down and he's the guy that drives away. I'm like, they weren't even waiting there at the wheel. Like
okay, this is more editing because like muscular guy hits the roof of the car and like the next cut is like Seth Green driving already. I'm like, wait, I thought he like what
also
the
the car's like
on?
1 inch away when.
God help me! Help!
Somebody help him!
Touch it!
You see him hit it, you're like, wait
It's
a minute,
very
what?
funny,
We couldn't
yes.
just jump to the car?
It's very like crude and like, did we get it? Yeah, no, it's on fire. We can't do it anymore. We're done.
Yeah.
It's very awkward and stuff. And also like the flaming broom just instantly exploding the ticks and stuff is very funny.
Well, I kind of love that because
that's charming. Yes.
I've not personally burned many ticks, but I wonder if there's something like that where like they're like balloons ready to go and like heat just. Like especially, I could see it if they've fed, especially because they'd probably be swelled up to like almost their max.
Yeah, and the like liquid inside would expand and like destroy them. Absolutely, I didn't think about it like that, but I did. Like the movie obviously sets up. Oh, you can't crush them. You have to like burn them. And then
they crush the shit out of them.
I was just
gonna
say. Then there's 20 scenes of them just easily stepping on them. And
Oh, Jesus.
like, okay,
I
movie.
think a lot of the reason you can't crush them when they're small, though, is
Yeah.
because they're so small. It's so
Sure.
hard to do it.
Yes, but like
when they're big, there's a lot of squish room.
But it's confusing as an audience
for
member
sure.
to be told you must burn them. That's the only way, and then just have people la cucaracha dancing over, large mounds of.
And
them.
they're like crab size. They're these
Yes.
big monstrous ticks.
It's like a good fist with legs type of thing.
You
They're,
never
like,
really see them
very scary.
expand with blood that much. Because they
No.
do mention that, it's drained of all of its blood, but you would have liked to see some fucking giant ticks.
No, that
or
should
like
have been
as they get
featured.
blood, it gets converted into their size keeps growing or something, but we don't get anything like that either.
Yeah, I think like a nest with because that might be complicated, but like a nest where like the ones that have fed have gone back to like gestate or mutate or something, and they're just these big water balloons of blood, and you're just like, oh no, and they start popping because there's fire and just blood hitting people, and then like, oh, it'd be great.
Yeah, and you already got some fun, good scenes here.
Yeah.
I thought almost every hallucination scene was just ludicrous and ridiculous.
And very
especially Panic's.
And very inconsistent and weird, but yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Panic. He has a nightmare on Elm Street where he sees an alleyway, like he's fighting in there and stuff. But it's very comes and goes very quick.
Yeah, because then immediately he snaps out of it and sees
Yeah.
them. The blonde rich girl kind of snaps out of it as soon as it would make sense to be like, we have to do something else in the plot.
Yes.
Stop it.
And until then, she's like fighting her boyfriend. Like she thinks he's Clint Howard. She should be so lucky, but yes, it's like what?
And like I don't even think she had that much black eye makeup on to turn into the thing she had, because she was just this like raccooned out person.
Yes.
Like
I'm hysterical.
Yeah, I like that.
It's a good look. It's hot, but it's not realistic. Let's just say.
Oh, party hats. Now I know where Chuck's head is at.
We get some on par with every other '90s movie, homophobia.
Tell me, young man, do you like me?
Sure, there's a little F slur getting thrown around, right?
And you get something
Forget
like
the
almost that
context
I
of
know
that.
you are one of my kind of thing, where it's like, say you're a blah blah, you're a blah blah blah.
Say yes, sir. I'm a faggot.
Yes, sir. You're a faggot.
Oh right, no, yeah, I think that one redneck is gay and is like
The whip one, the dominatrix guy,
because he's trying to like rape the young girl and then immediately goes to like you're a fancy F slur to like Carlton. It's very homoerotic and weird.
Squealing
He appears to want to rape Carlton, which I get it, but still.
He's got moves.
Oh, and Sir too, his whole thing. It's a weird domination thing.
Yeah,
it's very
Sir
gross.
is definitely the weirder of the two.
Yeah.
I love the whole he gets bit while he's taking the car, and he thinks it's the sheriff and drives his car right into him.
the dead
I think
sheriff.
that's
You're
great.
supposed to be dead. And
No. You're dead.
like goes into him.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that just because you have this thing where now that guy's crippled and he's right there while Carlton transforms into the big tick. So he's like, he gets to really get his comeuppance there. Like, he shot Carlton. Pretty much he's the reason he's dead. And now Carlton's transforming.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and he gets him.
No, there couldn't be better poetry than that. It's like dragging because he's not quite dead yet, but you've killed him with your actions, right? Dragging his corpse basically back to where you're trying to like the dumbest way possible as usual, right? Because they even call out, if we worked together, we might have a chance. What are you doing? And he's like, I'll take that chance. He's just like not into it. This is a great theme that I love in like a lot of horror, where it's like, no, you should be working together, and then someone's like, I'm cutting your rope and like fuck you, and they're doing the thing.
And I do understand it in some scenarios where it's like, well, no, I think if you're here to die, I might get away. But there was no real plan here.
No, and it's like
he wasn't throwing them out as a sacrifice as he then gets to the car.
He talks about that a little bit, but he doesn't really do it. And it's like a human failing of like, I just want to survive myself, and I'm gonna he shoots the like other able-bodied man that could help fight and stuff. It's
Leave the kid alone.
like crazy. It's very crazy.
Best line that Sir says is, "Please refrain from stupidity. You're wasting my bullets."
Please refrain from further stupidity. You're wasting my bullets.
My bullets. Yeah, exactly.
That was pretty good.
He has to keep. Yeah, the hostage situation is really gross. There's a lot of I think that the end does drag a bit. There's a lot of back and forth with like, you go, no, wait, you go, no, throw her the keys, no, you go, wait, no, stop, and back and there's a lot of there's 15 minutes of arguing in that room that doesn't really go, you know,
but
go
then you
anywhere.
get a giant tick, so it's all worth it.
No, that's
Payoff,
cool.
baby.
Exactly. It just felt like we were like spinning our wheels for a bit to get to that point. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
Even in the beginning, like you don't end up really caring about any of these characters. Like I only really care about Seth Green just because I'm like, that's Seth Green.
Pennick will be fine.
Tyler.
Yeah,
like,
no,
but nothing they established in the movie made me think that way about
I was just
him.
going to say that. I only care about Carlton because he's Carlton. I don't
Carlton,
care.
I was kind of like, die, Carlton, yeah. Like, because like I don't know how many horror movies Carlton has ever done. I think maybe just this one. He's in one, Boys in the Woods, but I think that's more about just getting lost, not a.
Okay. But it's a great thing. They had to make like a fake, you know, foam or whatever Carlton head, like a rubber Carlton head, to split in half all dramatically, right? That's fun. That's a good thing to have in the reel, you know.
Yeah, I was trying to find a thing of him talking about this movie, but I couldn't find anything.
It's all been destroyed.
Yeah.
He went out and
Presumably.
he scrubbed the whole internet.
Well, because it's such a weird move for him because like I don't know if he thought this was going to be bigger than it was, but like in '93 he's done 3 seasons of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which was I believe a very popular show when it came out. I know it held popularity for much longer than its original airing.
Yeah.
But it's very strange that you're like, oh, and then I did this for 5 weeks, and potentially during your hiatus between the show, I don't think it really would have cost you anything, but it is your image.
Well, but that's the meta layer that I'm so interested in, because like I said, I expected him to be like, you know, oh no, or like I understand the biochemistry Seth Green is saying, or some weird tell that he's like just putting on a front and he really is like essentially Carlton. So the fact that he picked a role where he's like an anti-Carlton.
Well,
right?
yeah, I could feel
like
him trying to bridge like if this movie would have done well, this would have been him breaking out of his character, and you could see, oh no, I can play tough guys.
Yeah, I don't want to be typecast as, you know, doing the Carlton and stuff. I want to be like
it's
more
hysterical.
Than that, right?
Him who's like the stereotypical short character on Fresh Prince, where he's always made fun of being tiny and short and growth stunted. And he gets the opportunity to make fun of Seth Green, who's much shorter than he is.
Someone burning something over there?
Sorry, Hall. Little man Todd over here was gonna smoke, but I told him it'd be rude. Stun his growth.
Uh-huh.
As, oh, the short guy, blah, 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 this and that, like that kind of stuff. It's because how often do you make, what is Seth Green, like 5'4" or something? Like, how often does he get that opportunity?
Seth Green is, he still has the umbilical cord hanging. He's so young in this movie. It's hilarious. I was like, oh, that is Seth Green. I thought it was a Cabbage Patch Kid doll. Like, he looks 12.
What's your guess?
We can look it up, but he looks 12. He's probably 15, 16.
I want to say he's 19.
Damn, he's, I don't know if that's a genetic gift, because I guess once he's 100, he will look 60 or something.
Well, he's like 46 or something now.
Okay.
And like, he doesn't look crazy.
I haven't
young
seen
now.
him today.
I think he has a gray beard now.
Sure.
So that's a, like, you know, a little bit of tell.
It's been exposed.
But he could
to a
shave
lot
the
of
facial hair
bad
and he
chemicals.
probably looks just as young. Being short in general, short and a petite dude, like you look smaller.
Oh, like a
younger.
small breed of dog.
Kind of.
This is like a large breed that breaks down so quickly. Nice.
Carrying around less. Probably weighs $120, like.
No, yeah, he's like petite. He has like the '90s layers on.
Oh, come on, guys. Bugs don't attack unless they're aggravated.
Great, classic story. The adults not leaving the kids. Thanks.
See, I should have brought a piece, man. This place ain't safe.
To look like more of like that,
and the big bushy
kid from
haircut.
The Goonies.
Yeah,
and the big like whatever. Kind of similar to what I have going on here, like a lot of hair.
But poofier because like they blow dry him.
Like the Jonathan Taylor Thomas, his brother, whatever, on the show, like the weird parted poofiness.
I do think it's about time that we have the sequel to TICKS, because we had a button at the end where they brought the TICKS back to the inner city.
The sequel talks.
I think that could be a thing. We pick up in time this many years later.
Oh yes.
And you got Seth Green fresh off the heels of Robot Chicken being canceled, and he's like, I've got time now.
Seth Green playing himself.
And it's him and Macaulay Culkin.
Now we're talking.
And they've got to stop the ticks.
Did Carlton tragically die?
Carlton exploded into the largest tick.
Oh, in the movie. I meant in real life.
Oh no. No,
Did
he's
Nelson
alive.
Mandela go back in time and kill Carlton? Thanks.
Alfonso is alive.
Alfonso's good? Good.
Yes.
Exactly. No, that's great.
His twin brother, Mayhem. Because I always do.
Panic and, I don't know. There's something there.
Discord.
There's something there. Oh. Yes. Oh, yes. No, that's awesome. Yeah, because that's the button is like that stupid van that they used for this whole thing. They apparently got back to like the city and said, screw this, we're not doing these trips anymore. Like, let it be impounded or wherever it is in like the junkyard, right? And they go bump bump, and there's like one egg on underneath. I hope that's a pregnant female because otherwise it's very anticlimactic for it to not do anything.
Pretty much. Yeah. Well, an egg sac should have a whole bunch of eggs, so.
Well, in this movie, it seems to just be one, but it could have more, I guess. It's fine.
I think it depends.
Yeah.
Because it looked like a bunch of little, like, solid nuggets fell out while he was, like, stabbing stuff, and that could have...
Lovely.
Be poor design, but hard to say.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was just, globs of goop or if each one was meant to be like a tick.
I don't know. I think in a real life scenario, it would be lots of little ones.
You'd think,
but in this, I remember because in the one where it's like almost like an alien egg chamber, like and it's moving around,
you just see the one.
And maybe there's a bunch and they eat each other in there and
the strongest one gets out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the perfect killing machine. Yes. No, like you could also do something with the like infected pot. Like that gets like shipped off somewhere and like gets somehow something and then some other animal even or something like that. You could do a lot of interesting things with this.
Yeah. I'd be down. I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's just the right amount of goofy bullshit to be fun.
You're hurting me. Stop it.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get it off.
I'm trying to get it off now.
No, and I usually don't say that, but for this one, like this hits the spot for me. Like, I don't care too much if someone I know is in the movie. I know you're like a huge fan of that. Like, I recognize this person, and I'm like, I don't care, man. Whatever.
It makes it better for me, especially when it's early work on somebody. When you're like, oh man, that guy became an Oscar-winning actor, and here he is fighting a tick.
No,
like that shit's great.
It certainly adds to it here, especially for the Carlton against type aspect, right? But I think even if it didn't have them, I would still be like, this is such an interesting gem of a movie.
Yes.
I don't think you could have gotten that performance out of many other humans besides Clint Howard, but I think in general, all things considered, like this stands on its own as this weird train wreck, but not boring or incoherent, good looking, interesting stuff, but not like, right? But not like,
I think for at this time, especially, like probably you'd say Alfonso was the most known actor, and Seth Green's been acting since he was like 7, but I think just having 3 years of primetime television made him like, probably the biggest name on the project.
Yeah,
and he is one of the worst in the movie.
See, I figured it'd be me who would get in a drive-by shooting, but my fucking dog would be okay.
Everyone's horrible.
When he's fighting out the tick, it's just like these solid 30-second clips of him just like it's like really close.
Yeah.
And it's the same one over and over again.
I was just gonna say, perfect. I was gonna say we can't show the clip to accurately get this across because it'd be too long. But there's several points where they reuse footage, and this is one of them where he's reacting the exact same way to the exact same thing multiple times. The tick's feeding on him, not getting bigger with blood or whatever.
No.
He's just screaming. He's just holding it onto his leg and screaming as it cuts back and forth. And then he wakes up and screams again because he has the cut now or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's a very clunky.
And everybody at some point seems to get bit by a tick, but not everyone hallucinates. Not everyone does anything.
It comes and goes. It's very consistent.
When Seth Green first jumps out of the window thing, the swing and it breaks and he falls, there are 1,000 on the ground, and he's just There's he should be 1,000% dead.
Yeah, exactly. No, these should be like those scarab beetles from the Mummy movie, where they're just oh no, like you see them and you're terrified, but no, everyone's stepping on them and going and throwing them off of them and being like, this stinks.
There's bugs everywhere. The fire has got them agitated.
Every goddamn way.
Right?
But the whip was a decent weapon, honestly, because he's
popping them or whatever. Yeah,
pretty much.
That's the way you want to do it.
That whip, what the fuck is the point of that? It's literally just an S&M type of whip.
I was gonna say it's for rape.
So
it's
small.
Not for anything else.
It's for nothing. It's the horse I'm riding, go faster kind of a whip. It's so small.
He just likes to have that, I think.
Yeah.
They're just these
Could have
weird
been cool to have him with a bullwhip. I picture in the script it was like a bullwhip, and they don't have access to it.
Yes.
They're I got this at the Halloween store. All right.
That sucks, Bob. Well, he has to have a whip. There's a whole scene. He has the whip thing.
There you go. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's alright.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Where the hell did you people come from?
Cannibal Video has everything you need. A wide array of VHS and DVDs. We ate the competition, now it's only us. Our expert staff opinion